Hey everyone, I'm Jamila Mustafa, and the one, the only Vic Mensa pulled up.
I'm pulling up. The homies finna pull up.
All right, I can definitely see why fans support you and your music. So let's talk about this Governor's Ball.
Governor's Ball was
Everyone
dope.
thought, like, fans were like, okay, here goes our album announcement, we're waiting. And then they get 2 songs. Why did you choose to debut those at that particular festival?
Well, the energy at Governor's Ball was just electric, you know? It felt like Lollapalooza in '96 or something. And I felt like Rage Against the Machine. And so I wanted to express myself in such a way that would make people lose inhibition and you know, tap into something more visceral and like the primal nature. So that's why I played those songs.
Your intelligence definitely comes across in your music, and I think several times you've been noted as having music that is lyrical nourishment and musical nourishment. Does it ever offend you that some of your rap peers, you know, may not take the lyrical as serious or being titled as mumble rappers? Do you get offended when you're sometimes mixed into that whole this generation?
I don't get offended by whack music, you know? I mean, I think that everybody got their path. Me, like I said, I make this music from a place of necessity, and I do it to be one of the best, one of the greatest, you know? I do it so that the things that I've said, because I don't write lyrics down, but I do it so the things that I said, they can be written down, and this could be like burned into pavement, you know, burned into the hearts and the minds of the people, etched in stone. So what everybody else does, they have their own reasons. I have mine.
Okay, respectable. Stand on your word. Now, mental health is definitely a pressing issue within the community and music industry, and we're looking at artists like Kanye West who embraced it. It was like, look, I'm bipolar and it's my superpower. But what's your take on mental health within the music industry?
It's like you break your arm and nobody's like, nah, I don't with the doctors, you know? You gonna get that cast. Well, I mean, being born into this world right now, especially being born black in America, it's like they breaking your arm every year, but it's mental straws that are really snapping. And we've been conditioned in such a way with the term crazy black man or crazy black woman to fear that label as a sign of weakness and as a historical just like wedge that's torn our families apart. So we like, no, I'm not crazy, you know, I got this shit, I'm all right. And you know, the music gonna reflect where we are as people. So you see a lot of people in pain, a lot of people hurting, and traditionally the avenues for us to grow and for us to heal haven't been open because they wanted us to, you know, fear ourselves and fear each other. I try to be transparent about the things that I've struggled with in my music because I know somebody's listening that doesn't necessarily know that they can be honest about who they are and that they can stand with conviction on who they are and strive to be the best version of themselves, strive to be free. So that's why I put mental health at the forefront of a lot of my lyrics. And also because, like I said, this is how I get through it. This is how I learn from my own thought process and how I master my own shit. A lot of time, I can't ever express the things that I'm feeling really to another person that may know me day in and day out, but they never have heard me really say what they knew I was feeling until I did it in a song.
Vic, what's been one of the hardest things that you've had to share in your music?
Some songs that were difficult for me. There's a song called Wings that I did with Pharrell, and in this song I just go into my mind of depression. Like I go into this self-destructive dark demon on my shoulder, you know, and I speak his voice into existence and show how he's always clawing, grabbing as I take a step into growth, you know, I take a step forward, I'm climbing. This guy, it's the monkey on my back. You know, he always trying to pull me down. And so it was difficult. I was in the studio. I had to kick everybody out the studio, and I'm just pacing back and forth, like screaming at myself, crying hysterically, because it was like I was really fucking letting all this shit out of me. So, you know, that was hard for me sometimes to listen to. Same with a record I did called Heaven on Earth, which was about the killing of my big bro, and somebody that was just, you know, really influential and inspiring to me. And so I imagine his killer's perspective as well as his perspective and my perspective. So that should have hit me emotionally sometimes too.
And you talk about the monkey on your back and the weight that one carries at any point in their life, and no matter who they are. Why do you think, especially for young black men, they're more reluctant or hesitant to want to get help? They don't want to talk about it in the communities. Like, what is it especially about black men that they don't want that help?
It goes back to, slavery, which was not a choice. It goes back to slavery. It goes back to, Malcolm X's family was torn apart when his father was killed by Klansmen, and DCFS started showing up. Child Services started showing up. His mom didn't feed them pork because she wasn't about that. To Child Services, that made her crazy, because here's some poor folk that are being choosy, you know, and clearly he considered them to be beggars. So that was crazy to him. So that crazy label on Malcolm X's mother, over a short period of time, actually tore the family apart as they took the kids away one by one because she was crazy, until she actually went crazy and ended up in a mental institution. So when you look at the history of that and you think about black people being called crazy, and you know what it's like when they're like, crazy black man, you know, and you can understand why black men would be particularly avoidant of mental health issues and addressing them, because you don't want to be labeled in a way that has been used to tear apart your families and tear apart your people, tear down your character, even if don't even realize that that's what's going on. Sometimes it's like you gotta learn about why you are the way you are. I read a book by a feminist writer named Bell Hooks, like about 2 years ago, and shit in the Bell Hooks book, We Real Cool, this was explaining to me why it is that I'm some of the ways that I am, you know? She talking about how traditional avenues to masculinity were stripped from the black man, and how, you know, when slavery ended, all the black people employed were women because they were working in houses. Black men didn't have no jobs. Before that, you didn't get to be a father because they take your child and sell them on a block, you know, on an auction block. And so through time, we've developed these different ways of expressing our masculinity, whether it be Harlem Renaissance and Charlie Parker and them, really the birth of cool, We Real Cool, you know what I'm saying? So that's how we learn our masculinity, and also hypermasculinity. So I'm really unpacking a lot of the reasons why I've been so violent in my life over such petty things. It's because I wanted to make sure that you understood I was a man and not to with me.
Now we have to talk about something that's near and dear to your heart. You've been a key player in advocating for the rights of the inner city youth in Chicago. So let's talk about your new organization, Save Money, Save Life. Tell us about that.
That's my foundation. And we've been doing a lot of good work in Chicago.
Yes, sir.
Trying to literally, you know, stop the bleeding of our people. And it's just that I was built this way, and that's how I was designed. And the niggas that came before me, they showed me this path. They said, we take care of our own. We invest in the hood. You know, we buy back the hood. We Black Panther breakfast program the hood. You know what I'm saying? And so being that I have an opportunity, I have some platform, I have access to resources, then that's what I'm supposed to do. And that's what I will do, what I have done. And it's just about taking shit to the next level, you know what I'm saying? Because as a member of the community, I'm from Chicago. I'm going to Chicago tonight. I'm not going to the Hyatt or to the fucking W. I'm going to the South Side, you feel me? So I'm gonna make sure that the South Side is feeling the impact of one of their sons, you know, having a big future.
I'm Jamila Mustafa, and your boy Vic Mensa just
That's
pulled
Letitia.
up.
We just pulled up.
You know my word.